Okay, so today we shall start studying about sludge and scale formation. Sludge and scale formation. Now, before we move on to sludge and scale formation, see guys, in the last session, we have spoken about boiler feed water and all of that. So there I said that in the boiler, suppose if hard water is used, then that will lead to the formation of sludge and scale, then priming and foaming, caustic embrittlement and boiler corrosion. So what is this hard water and soft water then? Yes, can you all tell me what is the difference between hard water and soft water? Start typing into the chat box there, hurry up. Yes, very good. Hard water, it has got lots of mineral salts into it or lots of minerals into it, right? Wherein soft water, it doesn't have lots of minerals, but it has minerals in a minimum quantity, right? And the other difference is what you've studied in school is hard water is the one which will not form lather with the soap, whereas soft water will form lather with the soap. So now suppose if you are using hard water which has got lots of minerals into it, so how does it affect the boiler? So that is a question now. So one of the causes or one of the effects or ill effects I can say is sludge and scale formation. Then what is this sludge? Now suppose if this is a boiler, okay. Suppose this is a boiler and then now water is fed into the boiler for production of steam. Then as you start heating the boiler, what happens? The water will get boiled and then steam is produced. So now suppose if this water contains some mineral salts like magnesium chloride, magnesium carbonate, calcium chloride and magnesium sulfate. Okay. Suppose if this water contains salts like magnesium chloride, magnesium carbonate, calcium chloride and magnesium sulfate. Then what happens is as you start heating up the boiler, okay, the water inside will start getting heated up and slowly it will start boiling. So in the meanwhile, it is going to form some thin PPT, which is going to be very slim. Slim means thin. Okay. So it is going to form a thin PPT or precipitate, which is loose and tends to float here and there into the water. Now, this precipitate, which is formed, which is loose and slim and tends to move into the water. So such precipitate is called as sludge. So what is sludge? It is loose and slim precipitate which will tend to float into the water. So this is called as sludge. Okay. Then what is scale? Now again, suppose if this is a boiler and water is fed into the boiler for production of steam and this water is heated. So suppose if this water contains some salts like calcium bicarbonate, calcium sulfate and magnesium hydroxide. Then what happens is on heating this boiler, okay, slowly it will start boiling and then steam is produced. So at that time, a thick and adherent precipitate is going to be formed. What is going to be formed? Thick and adherent. Adherent means sticky. The one which is going to be highly sticky. So that's called as adherent. So a thick and adherent precipitate is formed. Thick and adherent precipitate is formed. Now this thick and adherent precipitate is called as scale. So scale is, it's a thick and adherent precipitate which is formed onto the walls of the boiler on heating the water or boiling the water for the production of steam into the boilers. So this is called as scale. Now this is sludge and this is scale. Now whenever the sludge and scale are formed, these are not really good for the boilers. Now the efficiency of the boiler decreases. And the question is how efficiency of the boilers decreases. See here, when sludge is formed, sludge is poor conductor of heat. Okay, the sludge formed is poor conductor of heat. As this is poor conductor of heat, it is not going to allow heat to pass through it. So surrounding water which is there near the sludge, it will need more time to get heated. As it needs more time to get heated, more amount of heat has to be given here. So as more amount of heat has to be given for the production of steam, the efficiency is going to decrease. Means we are going to require more amount of heat for the production of steam, which is going to be a total loss. Okay. In the case of scale now, scale, as I said, it is very thick and adherent precipitate which is going to be formed onto the walls of the boiler. So this thick and adherent precipitate, this acts as thermal insulator. Okay. Since the scale acts as thermal insulator, now it is not going to allow heat to pass through it. So as it is not going to allow heat to pass through it, there is no question of heating or boiling the water for production of steam. So this is how the boilers will get affected by the formation of sludge and scale. Okay. Now, how do we remove the scale then? Since it is adherent, like very sticky, it has stuck onto the walls of the boiler. How this can be removed? This can be prevented or this can be removed by washing it with acid or giving an acid wash. Okay. And in case of sludge, this can be removed just by replacing this with soft water or by softening the water. Instead of using hard water, it's better to use soft water in both the cases. So this is how the scale and sludge can be prevented. Suppose if at all they are formed, then here the water has to be softened and here this has to be removed by acid wash. So this is about scale and sludge. Okay. Then the next thing we have here is boiler corrosion. Boiler corrosion. Now, like I told you all, priming and foaming and caustic embrittlement, these are not there for your syllabus. If you are still interested to know about priming and foaming and caustic embrittlement, you all can ask me later. Okay, maybe you all can call me or you all can give text me and then you can ask me for the same. Now let us study about boiler corrosion. Now what do you mean by this term boiler corrosion? Yes guys, what do you all understand by this term boiler corrosion? Okay, very good. Okay, according to Sarvesh Sneha and Akshat, they say that due to some impurities, corrosion of boiler takes place. Yes, good. Yes. So what is this boiler corrosion is? The decay of boiler material. Okay, the decay of boiler material due to presence of impurities in the water. So this is called as boiler corrosion. Boiler corrosion is the decay of boiler material due to presence of impurities in the water. So that is called as boiler corrosion. So let us see what happens when there is dissolved oxygen in water, dissolved oxygen in water, and dissolved carbon dioxide followed by dissolved salts like magnesium chloride. Okay, dissolved salts like magnesium chloride. Now suppose if the water that you are using in the boiler contains some impurities like dissolved oxygen, dissolved carbon dioxide, dissolved salts like magnesium chloride, then how this is going to affect boiler corrosion. Okay, sorry, how this is going to affect the boilers and then leads to corrosion. So this is the question now. Now let us see how does this dissolved oxygen content is going to affect the boiler, thereby corroding the boiler. Now can somebody tell me how much amount of dissolved oxygen will be there into the water usually, like per liter? So dissolved oxygen content into water is usually 8:9 parts per million. Okay, 8:9 parts per million. So now, whenever there is dissolved oxygen, now suppose again we have a boiler here, okay, and then water is fed into the boiler and heated so as to produce steam. So this water is going to be heated for the production of steam, right? Now, this water which is there, it has dissolved oxygen into it. Okay, it has dissolved oxygen into it. And remember, boiler materials are usually made up of iron. Boiler materials are usually made up of iron. Now, this water has got dissolved oxygen into it. As you go on heating the boiler under high pressures, okay, or as you go on heating the water present in the boiler under high pressures, then what happens is oxygen concentration in the water will tend to increase. As you go on heating, oxygen concentration in the boiler will go on increasing. Now, it will increase to such an extent that free oxygen will be evolved. Okay. So initially what we have here, there is water containing dissolved oxygen into it. Water containing dissolved oxygen into it. Now, this water is being heated. Heated where? In the boiler. So this boiler material is made up of iron. So what happens is these will react with each other to form ferrous hydroxide. So what is formed now? Ferrous hydroxide is formed. So let us balance this equation. So this is going to be 2, 2 and 2. Okay. Then this ferrous hydroxide which is now formed, what happens is it is further going to react with the free oxygen that is evolved. So how free oxygen is evolved? As you go on heating, I said that oxygen concentration will go on increasing under high pressure. Okay. Since free oxygen is evolved, this ferrous hydroxide, sorry, the free oxygen evolved will tend to react with ferrous hydroxide which is formed to form hydrated ferric oxide. It is going to form hydrated ferric oxide. So this is called as rust. Hydrated ferric oxide is called as rust. So this is how rust is formed into the boilers and thereby affects the boiler and leads to corrosion of the boiler. So this is the thing what happens in case of dissolved oxygen. Okay. So the next one we have here is dissolved carbon dioxide. Now let us see what happens when dissolved carbon dioxide is there in the water. The presence of dissolved oxygen. How does it affect boilers? Now again, we have a boiler. So water is fed into the boiler for the production of steam. And this is heated. Okay. So now this water, when it has dissolved carbon dioxide into it. So carbon dioxide usually tends to react with water to form carbonic acid. Okay. Carbon dioxide which is dissolved into the water, it will react with water to usually form carbonic acid. This carbonic acid will dissociate into its ions. Proton, that is H plus, and HCO3 minus ion. HCO3 minus ion is a bicarbonate ion. Okay. Now this proton which is formed, since this is acidic in nature, this will directly attack the boiler material. Again, remember that the boiler is made up of iron. Okay. So here this H plus, that is a proton, will directly go and attack the boiler material, that is iron, since this is acidic in nature, thereby corroding the boiler material. Now this bicarbonate ion which is formed, that will tend to react with the ferrous ions. Okay. Bicarbonate ion will tend to react with the ferrous ions, thereby forming ferrous bicarbonate. Thereby forming ferrous bicarbonate. Okay, or you can also say this as iron 2 bicarbonate. So now this ferrous bicarbonate which is formed, this is unstable, and then further it will decompose into ferrous hydroxide, which is a precipitate, thereby giving out carbon dioxide. Okay, thereby giving out carbon dioxide. Let us balance this equation. This is going to be 2CO2, right? So here this carbon dioxide is SQ. Then now this precipitate which is formed, that is ferrous hydroxide. This is corrosive in nature. Okay, ferrous hydroxide which is formed here is corrosive in nature. Since this is corrosive in nature, this will cause corrosion in the boilers. So this is how presence of dissolved carbon dioxide will lead to corrosion in the boilers. Okay. Then the next one we have is presence of dissolved salts. Okay, presence of dissolved salts like magnesium chloride. Presence of dissolved salts like magnesium chloride. Now again, we have a boiler and the water is fed in the boiler for the production of steam, and the water is heated. Now suppose if this water in the boiler contains salts like magnesium chloride. Salts like what? Magnesium chloride. Then what usually happens? See, when this water has salts like dissolved magnesium chloride into it. So this dissolved magnesium chloride will tend to react with water, usually form magnesium hydroxide. Okay, magnesium hydroxide, thereby giving out HCl. Now since HCl is an acid, a strong acid, it will directly attack the boiler material, and the boiler material is made up of iron, right? HCl which is produced here, it's an acid. It is a strong acid and it will go and attack the boiler material. So the boiler material is made up of iron. So this HCl will tend to react with iron to form ferrous chloride, thereby giving out hydrogen gas. Ferrous chloride is formed, thereby giving out hydrogen gas. Then once when ferrous chloride is formed here, right, the water is continued heating. This is a continuous process wherein water is continuously being heated. So at this point of time, this ferrous chloride will tend to react with the water that is present in the boiler, okay, to form ferrous hydroxide, regenerating HCl. Now this ferrous hydroxide which is formed, it is a precipitate, and as I said, this is corrosive in nature. Thereby it will start corroding the boiler material, wherein since HCl is regenerated back, again it is going to go and react with iron, and again the same reaction will start taking place. So this is how the presence of dissolved salts like magnesium chloride will affect the boiler material, thereby causing corrosion to the boiler. Okay. Now in case of dissolved carbon dioxide, I said that proton is formed and a bicarbonate ion is formed. Okay. Then as proton will go and start attacking onto the boiler material, it will start forming holes. Okay, or into the boilers. As it forms holes into the boilers, these boilers will start leaking. It usually undergoes pitting corrosion. That is what it will form in case of boilers, thereby making the boilers leak. So this is all about boiler corrosion.